vegetation for the last 6 years. Bit of iteration is there, but I have not documented it.
Okay.
I mean, still there are certain days when you get lot of ducks and lot of varieties. But there are days which are good, the days which are not.
Okay, and right.
Yes.
So what kind of difference that you
Well,
observe?
it's not as stinky. The air is not smelling.
Okay.
I'm not smelling as much garbage and sewage and things.
काफ़ी यहाँ बहुत आती थी, अभी क्या है ना, काफ़ी कंस्ट्रक्शन काफ़ी हो गया है। वहाँ देखिए ना, स्टार्टिंग गेट नंबर 1 में वहाँ भी बहुत कंस्ट्रक्शन कर दिया गवर्नमेंट ने। और अभी यहाँ पे क्या है, यहाँ पे भी देखो पीछे कंस्ट्रक्शन हो गया, तो काफ़ी हैबिटेट लॉस हुए, उससे काफ़ी लॉस है बर्ड्स को। बट अभी नंबर बर्ड्स कम आ रही है और वैरायटी ज़्यादा है यहाँ पे।
मतलब
डाइवर्सिटी कम है इस समय, पहले ज़्यादा होता था। पहले यहाँ बर्ड्स काफ़ी आती थी, क्योंकि अभी कंस्ट्रक्शन की वजह से बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो गई है।
बैराज करके जो है ना, वहाँ पे देखना कितना पॉल्यूशन का वो रखा है। ठीक है, वही नहीं है ना, पानी तो वही है ना, आगे भी करके पानी आता वही है। एक तो पानी इतना ज़्यादा ख़राब है यहाँ का, ठीक है, और ऊपर से पॉल्यूशन दिल्ली, मतलब एक तो वो पॉल्यूशन हो गए, पानी ख़राब है, पॉल्यूशन आ रहा है, और भी माइग्रेशन कर रहा है, कहीं और भी जा सकता है, जरूर कि यहाँ पे आना और ये साथ में आप आ जाए। हाँ, अभी तो क्या बोलूँ, क्वान्टिटी तो मुझे नहीं लगी, और ये भी रीज़न हाई टेंशन वायर हो, आई एम नॉट श्योर, बट बर्ड्स की क्वान्टिटी तो कम लगी। और उनके रखरखाव के लिए तो ऐसा गवर्नमेंट ने ऐसा कुछ किया नहीं है, क्योंकि सेंटर में तो देखो तो काफ़ी गंदगी है, तो क्लीनिक भी नहीं किया इसको एरिया को, बस ऐसे ही जंगल टाइप है, थोड़ा मेंटेन करना चाहिए सब।
There was one year when there was almost no water, and the birds were struggling. They had and then the Green Tribunal asked the developers to put the water back, so they did. But they didn't rebuild the water. That's the problem, and they didn't rebuild the aquatic environment. Right? So you can't just take over. Like, you lose half your skin, and they say, okay, we'll stick some on you. You're not going to get better.
Well, climate change, that's a big deal, and eventually it could wipe it all out. But the thing is that the most important thing for here is development and pollution. Because this is a sanctuary for, as you can see, tens of thousands of birds. Okay? The birds have to have a clean enough environment to be able to live in it. And so, if you have industrial waste or human waste, sewage, enough pollution can ruin the sanctuary. Chemicals, yeah, exactly. So, but then there's also the development. The birds have to have enough open space to be able to survive. And if the city crowds too close, some of these birds, at least, may no longer be able to survive here. So you need to have a clean environment, and you have to have a big enough.
जो दिख रहा है ना, इसके ये जो पोखरण है, इसके सामने जो है कूड़ा घर है, तो कूड़ा रहता है तो गैसेस रहती हैं, वो काफ़ी यहाँ पे आती रहती हैं, इस वजह से जो है ना यहाँ के पक्षी हटते जा रहे हैं, कम होते जा रहे हैं। वो दूसरी
Fire is not managed well. Sometimes they open the gates and the water drains out, and then they accumulate it later on. The birds then they come and they don't find any much of material for them, feeding material for them. Otherwise, the pollution of river Yamuna, if you enter from Wazirabad and come down, the water is also polluted there. That might be having some effect on the.
You know the canary in the mine model?
Yeah.
Okay. So they used to bring canaries.
They used to take canaries in a cage in a coal mine to test the air, and if the canary died, then you knew you were about to die. Because that's essentially what's happening now. The birds and the environment are giving us the warning.
Oh, pollution is horrible. I mean, it's bad for people, it's bad for animals, it's bad for buildings, it's bad for crops. Air pollution and water pollution are just extremely not a good thing.
अगर किया होता तो आपको खुद दिख जाता कि यहाँ पे जो है नए नए पेड़ लग रहे होते और क्या बोलते हैं सफाई भी की जाती। जो नैतिक चीज़ें हैं वो तक नहीं की जाती। आप बाहर जाएंगे तो वो जो टिकट काटने वाला भी है, वो भी उसका भी जो जगह है
गवर्नमेंट ने पहले स्टे लगाया था, वहाँ पे जो कंस्ट्रक्शन हुई है वहाँ पे अभी वो दोबारा स्टार्ट हो गई है। हम देखेंगे यहाँ पे भी पीछे भी कंस्ट्रक्शन हो रही है, वो स्टार्ट हो गई दोबारा से, 2 साल के लिए लगा था, उसके बाद दोबारा स्टार्ट कर दिया कंस्ट्रक्शन। ऐसे हैबिटेट लॉस तो हो रहा है, बोर्ड्स का काफ़ी हो गया था पहले से। अच्छा, इससे ही इफेक्ट पड़ता होगा ना कुछ?
And this place, probably there was some plan which was floated to make some changes in that. Some migration was done, but no changes were done there. So it is not up to government only. It is for people also to see that our rivers are not polluted.
Destroyed. Now, of course, pollution enters into that too. I was always told Delhi would be. I felt it earlier today when it was calm. Now the wind is blowing and I feel much better. But you know, my eyes were watering, but that has to affect the wildlife definitely. But I see there's plenty of birds now. What it was like 20 years ago, I don't know.
इम्प्लीमेंट हो नहीं रहा, कुछ तो नहीं रहा,
मतलब वो ग्राउंड पे काम नहीं कर
ना, वो इम्प्लीमेंट ही नहीं हो पा रहा, पॉलिसी नहीं हो रही और डिस्ट्रिक्ट फिलहाल की पॉलिसी नहीं है, यमुना यमुना की पॉलिसी है, यहाँ तक पता नहीं कब क्या पहुँचेगा क्या पहुँचेगा, इसमें कोई ध्यान नहीं आ ही नहीं रहा, यहाँ तक लग रहा है। थैंक यू सो मच।
Far, we've had the Environmental Protection Agency, we've had the Clean Water Act and the Clean Air Act, which have, and that's been, gosh, probably 40 years, I think, we've had the Clean Air Act. I think you really need these regulations because people, it's all about the money. If they can make money and
well, we have pretty strict laws, environmental protection laws, water safety laws, and so I'm not sure about India's, what kind of laws you all have, but we have polluted rivers and we have polluted air too.
That's right. In the U.S., they're just continuing to build. I live near the Everglades in South Florida, and you know they're just clearing land and building gated communities. And many people. I went to a lecture about 5 years ago. And it was called "Birds in the Bush," and this lecturer is from the Cornell Labs, which has the School of Ornithology. And he predicted that in 50 years there would be no birds on the planet because the environment is being destroyed. So for instance, we went to Costa Rica, and the guide said you would walk down. This was about 10 years ago. He said you'd walk down the trails and you'd step on frogs. There were so many. Now you have to look really carefully to find these little tree frogs. So that
Indigenous plants. There's too much algae on top, and that means the water doesn't have enough oxygen, which means it doesn't have enough of little fish and microbes and yeah. Aquatic organisms are just
And lack of sunlight.
well, yeah. The pollution doesn't help.
But it is a good sanctuary. I mean, if you see anything around Delhi, it is one of the best still, and it is a lot of variety. And this year it is pretty good. There are pelicans, there are flamingos, then there is a flock of drowsy ibis, so on, and gargani have just clicked in flight. So many migratory birds, all of them for good.
आउट ऑफ 10 तो मैं 6 दूंगा, क्योंकि मैं केरला का एक सेंचुरी विजिट किया था, वो काफ़ी अच्छा है, यहाँ से काफ़ी अच्छा मेंटेन है, वहाँ बोट्स प्रोवाइडेड हैं, आप अंदर से जाके देख सकते हो, काफ़ी नियर से देख सकते हो। ये सब यहाँ तो मुझे नहीं दिखा, या मे भी होता हो, मुझे पता नहीं। थैंक्स। ओके, थैंक यू।
bird watching is outside. Birds have to survive. They're the warning for us because the birds will disappear before we do, and they are disappearing.
water birds, waders, gulls, kites, of course, yellow bills, all sorts of, I don't think we've seen any warblers, but mostly the water birds.
Okay, ma'am.